Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of my Cedar Point Recreation Park. In the last episode, we worked on some of the backlots and maintenance areas for the park as we continue to build out the outside the park areas. Today is going to be a bit more of the same, still a lot of back area stuff to do. Not a particularly exciting part of the park to work on, but definitely a necessary part in order to get the park looking realistic and a bit more lifelike and lived in. As I've mentioned before, the closer and closer that we get to wrapping up the project, the more time we're going to be spending on just kind of annoying things like this, little fiddly details, a lot of filling in corners, adding a bunch of areas to our park that the average person probably doesn't even think about. A lot of it because you can't even see it from inside the park. We're doing a lot of areas that I don't have any photographic reference for aside from the Google Maps aerial photos. So a lot of guesswork in here, a lot of creative liberties. But I still do want to make these areas as detailed as I can. We're starting back behind the Gemini and Steel Vengeance area. There's some backlots back here, some maintenance sheds. Don't really know what this stuff is all used for, but you can guess this is the same kind of maintenance stuff we saw last time. So just throwing down some basic buildings here, using some of the same style we did for our other maintenance buildings. Copy and pasting with the ever handy scenery manager. Definitely spending a lot more time with this section kind of figuring out where things are going. Trying to figure out what the best place is for these buildings, how to nestle everything together so it still glues together the coaster area and the parking lot area together in a way that makes sense. I think what we have here worked out pretty well. There's a bit too much of a gap here, so we'll be filling in more of this with foliage at some later point. However, one nice thing about these buildings is that they are a good place to hide some underground path. As always, we're having issues with guest path finding, especially the ones that want to get to Steel Vengeance and can't find it because it is very much tucked away in the corner and really hard to get to for your average RCT guest. So we got some underground path in here to connect it to the Gemini area a bit more cleanly, so it's going to be easier for them to find. It actually worked a bit too well because now the Steel Vengeance queue is very full, making it very crowded over here since peeps can't get on the ride. Kind of similar to the problem we have with the ever-crowded Millennium Force queue and Midway area. But anyway, yeah, like I said, not a whole lot of interesting stuff going on back here. Just kind of the same stuff we've done before, making these backlot buildings, building some parking lots. Nothing new, just more busy work. I know it's not the most exciting thing to watch, but the closer we get to the end of the project, the less interesting stuff that there actually is to talk about, because it's a lot of the same stuff that we've already done, just in other parts of the park. It's just the nature of projects like this. And I am still spending a lot of time off camera doing some tweaks and detailing that you haven't seen, because it's even less interesting than this. Like I said, we still have a lot of corners to fill in, and some buildings to kind of tweak. Some of these first draft building designs that I want to go over again. So I am working on a lot of that stuff off camera. Of course, we do still have some challenges over here with the roads. Even though we've done roads and parking lots before, and I'm just more or less using the same strategies to build the ones at the back of the park. Getting a nice shape for some of these roads has been a real challenge. We have a lot of curvy shapes back here for the layout. And as I always say, it's hard to get a nice organic looking curvy path shape with the grid system that RCT has. So I'm currently doing this weird zigzaggy thing with the road that goes around the back of the park. I'm not sure I like it particularly, but there's not a whole lot of other options that I can think of to make a nice convincing looking curved road back here. Definitely a case where making a park recreation has some disadvantages compared to making your own creative park from scratch. That you could just design your park to avoid having these kinds of issues in the first place. But if this winds up being the solution that we have to go with, I'm not too upset about it. It looks okay at first glance, so I'll have to go through some of my reference parks and see if I can find any better solutions, but I guess we'll just have to see. But I think that's about all I want to talk about today. Another kind of shorter episode, but like I've been saying, there's not as much to talk about with these parking lot and backlot ones. Again, the same stuff you've already seen before. But I did want to get this episode out there anyway, just to make sure everything is getting documented and, I'm still working on it. It's still getting progress made. I think I'm a little bit behind my original projected schedule. I've been taking a little bit of breaks lately and trying to take things a little bit more slowly so I don't get burned out, especially as we come to the end of the project. don't want to get 95% of the way there and just stop, which is definitely something I could see myself doing. Anyway, that's going to do it for me today. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and as always, if you've got any comments, questions, or suggestions, please let me know. Thanks for watching.